Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for an upper body day. So let's get right into this. Most of the workout I was super happy with, other than the bicep training at the end, and again I may need to adjust a little bit. But my training max went really easy. Obviously I just went flat back, did a nice 3-second pause, and put it up. People can say whatever they want, obviously not a true max, and that's not what I'm trying to do. It's just a good training max. It's almost a warm-up for me. But again, about as raw as you can get, other than I've got a belt on, no wrist wraps, flat back, wide grip, long pause, heels flat, no arch. Kind of the same way I'm doing my rep work. So the rep work, I decided to add 5 pounds on here. I've been doing 225. And for those curious, yes, I'm doing soft touch and go. But notice this is true touch and go. My issue with touch and go benching, the reason touch and go doesn't work for 99.9999 repeating percent of men who do it. And they're like, I don't feel my chest. It's because you're bouncing it off your chest, right? The stretch position at the bottom is where we get the most chest stimulus, so if you're bouncing the weight, it doesn't work. So if you cannot do a very soft touch like I'm doing to where you barely feel it graze your skin, then you need to pause for a full second on every rep. And I don't believe there's any real in between for most guys. Pull-ups, I did my 3x10 with 10-pound plate. One of them I think I got 11, so pretty happy with that in terms of limit sets. For the rep work, though, with the 230, I got 12 on the first 2 sets, and I squeezed out 10. It just felt like I was running out of steam. And the thing, when I look here, it's like I realize, yes, my biceps need the most work still. So I adjusted even my rowing a little bit, and it may come to a point where, if you guys look at my pull-ups, it's very much a back-dominant exercise the way I do it. Right? We're only worried about getting the scapula retracted to the top. I'm not worried about swinging up over the bar. Because I just don't care. I'm trying to build my lats. But there may come a point where I switch to chins just for the extra bicep. But I don't know if I want to do that, because I do like having that one lat, really good lat exercise in, even though obviously my back is probably my strongest and biggest body part. But yeah, I do these with a wide grip, so people who are like, I don't feel pull-ups in my back. Well, if they're like, you feel in your grip, you have a weak grip, you need to fix your grip, first of all. But a nice wide grip, and spread your scapula at the bottom, right? Make sure the scapula come apart, okay? And do a nice wide grip. And remember, the focus is on the bottom half if you really want to build your lats. And I'm not saying there aren't advantages to trying to go chest to bar or whatever, but lats isn't one of them, right? And I'll just leave it at that. So benching, I was really happy with this, and like I said, I was super happy with the whole workout today, other than the biceps. And it's really because I tried to increase weight on the dumbbells, and then I felt less bicep activation because I want to get more tension, because I hit 20 reps on all my sets last time, and I got a great bicep pump, but I feel like I've got to get some more tension on those arms. I've got to just train my biceps harder. And when I looked at that and looked at the rep ranges, I may go over to just a straight bar next time and compare it, right? And just compare how the straight bar feels, okay? Compare how the straight bar feels, because it feels really good in that rep range. It seems like I've got to go over 15 with the dumbbells to really keep it strict enough to where I get that amazing bicep pump. But we'll talk about that when we get to the bicep training. Let's keep talking chest and back. Happy with all of that. The incline, I'm kind of doing what I've been doing, because I'm doing a really wide grip. I get such a deep stretch at the bottom, it doesn't touch the chest. And it's not that I'm doing a partial. I literally, it won't touch the chest when I'm going really wide grip and high up like that. And that's okay, because the chest pump and the upper chest pump and stretch is phenomenal. But I realized I'm going too light. I did 12 with this. I'm like, let's put some weight on. I realized that after I did my rows, I'm like, let's try to go a little heavier again. And I felt an even better activation. So that's the thing. I'm getting used to just trying to incline with a really wide grip, because I do love the intense stretch that I feel at the bottom. Because I feel it all the way from the center of the chest all the way to the armpit and the whole upper half. And like I said, arms are really my weak link, so I don't know why I'm worrying so much about all that, other than we do need chest and back to stay developed. All right, I did the Yates rows again. I'm like, look, my biceps need work. I need my back work to contribute to the bicep development. And if I'm going to keep the volume more moderate, I really, really need to make sure my biceps are getting hammered. And I actually felt pretty good bicep on this. It's still a very back dominant. I still feel a lot of upper back, lat, and all that. But at least my biceps got a really good pump. The one thing I will say, I went up in weight on both of these, and I went up to 225. I haven't tried to do Yates rows at 225. That grip is monstrous to hold on to. But I'm also using the smoothest neural bar I had there because I'm like, we can get a little extra grip work while I'm doing my lats because it's usually easy, and I used to do a lot of fat bar rows. But if I'm going to do the Yates rows, I probably should grab one of my bars with some actual neural on it, right? I really need to because on the last set I had to set it down and re-grip it after rep 7. But yeah, we went 225, and honestly, man, sets of 10. I felt my whole back really light up, and I felt my biceps light up. So super happy with this. But again, as you guys can tell, man, gripping this, you can see me trying to get that thumb around that bar. I'm like, oh man, definitely a challenge on the grip. But it didn't limit the activation. That's the beauty of it. Yeah, it was intense grip training with this smooth bar, but I still felt the activation and the fatigue and all the primary movers. Okay. So super happy with it. I'm really liking that. And once I put a little weight on there, I feel like, again, now we're getting a good multi-joint that hits my biceps too. Because I really feel like I need my back work to contribute to the biceps. Again, if I'm not going to come in and do a million sets of curls. And I just feel like it's just too much on recovery to try to come and do tons and tons of curls. And I might need to do it anyways. We might need to just bite the bullet and say, yeah, maybe we do need to do 2 types of curls again, especially if I'm going to do 3 sets of every exercise. And I think that might be the compromise I go with, of saying, look, let's go ahead and just do both. And I wish I would have thought of it sooner in the workout. By the time I got to the dumbbells, I feel like it would have just been a lot better overall. And I can still do it as a superset. But yeah, man, this set felt really, really good. Again, I had to set it down just to re-grip after, I think, rep 7, and then squeezed out 3 more. But the biceps, the lats, traps, everything felt really, really good. And you guys can tell when I stand up from these, just that lat spread. It's because my back is that pumped. And delts are looking pretty decent there. And obviously body fat's doing better. Again, I've got to keep getting leaner, tighten up the loose skin, tighten up the waistline. It's slowly getting there, right? Slowly getting there. But I've got to bring up the arms in the meantime too. So tricep extensions. I'm like, I like the skull crushers to the forehead, but I'm concerned I'm not getting enough range of motion, right? I want to make sure that long head gets hit super hard, especially if I'm going to come in and do just one tricep exercise. I want to push it super hard, and I've got to quit doing the skull crushers to 20. I'm like, let's add some weight. I got 15. Normally these are harder for me than skull crushers, and I can't do as much weight. But I went up and still got 15. So on the next set, I added another 10 pounds, and then we got down into that 10 to 12 rep range. All right, these, I felt like this first set, I'm like, well, let me just go ahead and do the supine thing. And then I looked at the footage really quick in the middle of the workout. I'm like, I'm not curling it up the way that I like. I'm not quite, and I'm struggling. I feel like with the dumbbells, when I go heavier, it's really struggling to get that contraction at all in the bicep. I mean, I feel like they do a lot of work, but the issue is getting that contraction I want when I turn those pinkies up. And I noticed it on this set. I'm not quite getting into that supine position. So it's like I feel like the barbell forces me into that position better, you know? And I feel like my biceps really need it. I went a little heavier on the laterals. I grabbed my 25s, and I'm like, I think we're good here. Obviously, the skin is looking a little loose around there this morning, and I feel like that happens anytime I start getting leaner, because if you look at the chest and the shoulders, and even my hamstrings, I'm getting leaner. And it seems like the skin sometimes goes through a little bit more looseness when I do that, then it gets a little firmer. So, yeah, you can just tell there I'm losing fat. So, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to let it do its thing. Keep my antioxidants high, keep my hydration high, right? And just go the distance, go the course. All right, I went heavier here. I got like 12 on this, and that was hard. Then the last set, I only got 10 with this weight. It was just all I could do. But felt some really good tricep activation. Of course, I'm feeling that, and then I was getting frustrated with biceps. So the second set, it was kind of the same thing. I tried to do the hammer grip into a supine position to rotate it up, which, in theory should work the most muscle through that longest range of motion. But I was not getting the bicep stimulus I've been getting when I'm doing these upper sets of 20, right? And that really that's a problem. Because again, I'm only doing one bicep exercise here. That straight bar brings a lot to the table for me. And as much as I love dumbbells, and we could argue about the freedom of movement, the range of motion, I really have to bring my biceps up. And in that case, the straight bar, everyone's like, oh, it forces you into a position. It forces you into a position to where the bicep is forced to contract super hard. I don't have a wrist problem. I don't have forearm problems from it because I know how to grip the bar correctly. I'm not worried. But I think here we can see how my delts and my chest are doing at least. All that's getting leaner, right? I feel like I'm in a good spot there. I've got to just hammer down on the arms. Like just looking at this footage here, biceps and then tightening up that waistline or what's holding me back. This last set of tricep extensions, my triceps just gave out. Like the 10th rep, they were just like, whoa, this is all we can handle. Because I've been doing those 16 to 20 with the other skull crusher. Now I put a little more weight on the bar. We're trying to get that deeper stretch. Yeah. So I think I want to do these for a bit with this slight form variation to where I go behind the head and stopping at the forehead and try to keep it heavy enough to where I'm down in that 10 to 12. Again, I want to get some tension on those arms. The curls on this last set, I'm just like, let me just stick with a supine. Let me just stick with the palms up. And it actually felt a little better. It was just really hard. Like I struggled to get my 10 reps here with this heavier weight. By the way, I went up, that's another thing. I put another 10 pounds on each dumbbell. Instead of 28s, these were 38s. But as you guys can see, not quite as strict as I would like, although this last set I actually really did get a good bicep pump finally. When I just stuck with the supine position. So I'm wondering if I need to just do these, maybe do barbell curls, superset with the triceps, and then come in and superset these with the laterals. And that's a lot of volume. And part of me is like, I could cut the laterals out. My shoulders are doing really good, but just aesthetically, I don't know if that would be a wise idea. But everything but the curls I was crazy happy with today. The rows, the pressing, everything was good, even the triceps. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.